Welcome back to Valiant Effort. I'm still Nick.
I'm Ted.
And today we're going to start a new video series where we're actually going to be ranking and comparing and contrasting the top performers in our opinion for each category. Some categories may only have 3 or 4 cars, and others like today could probably have, what, 12?
Could have 12. Today we're only going to do 5 though. We picked the 5 that we think are probably the best sellers, most popular, because those are going to be the ones that you're going to be picking between typically.
And what category? What are we ranking?
This is the compact crossover SUV segment. Very exciting.
Is that the CUV?
CUV, yes, CUV. So this is like what everybody is buying right now. The ones that we've picked today are the Volkswagen Taos, the Toyota RAV4, the Honda CR-V, the Mazda CX-5, and the Ford Escape. So, okay, so we're looking at the base price. So what is the least amount of money that you can get into a car for it? And the Taos...
0 options. Like
yes.
Literally, I walk into a dealership, I want the cheapest car you offer.
Yeah. So the Taos wins by a mile.
It's a lot. It's a lot of money.
Yeah. Taos is $23,495 for the base S.
Yes.
Which we have to say, I mean, we're going to talk about standard features later, but it comes with a lot.
It comes with a lot, and the base also requires the least amount of maintenance because it is front-wheel drive. I think we should mention front-wheel drive now.
Yes.
So, are all the other cars standard all-wheel drive?
The only one I think that is standard all-wheel drive is the CX-5.
Okay.
But the Escape is a no-cost option.
Okay, but for $23,500, I mean, what's the price difference? I mean, you're talking $3,000 to the next car.
Yeah. Yeah, because the Mazda is the next cheapest base, but it is all-wheel drive standard, and it's $26,250.
Yep.
So if you just need a front-wheel drive car to bop around in, you know, maybe you don't live in Connecticut or Massachusetts, or
you have a short commute,
or you're a teacher and
right.
You get snow days off. It's great. The 8-speed is terrific. It's smooth.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about Haldex service or anything like that. It's a really good.
Yeah.
Really good buy.
Yeah, and then on the flip side of that, you have the most expensive, which is going to be the RAV4. That's not standard all-wheel drive.
No, it's a $1,500
Wow.
option. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, you get a RAV4 with front-wheel drive for $26,975, which is kind of a lot.
Yeah.
It's kind of a lot.
I think it's a lot knowing what the Taos offers.
Yeah. It's a lot knowing what some of the other cars offer. I mean, like, let's be honest, there's a lot of things to like about the RAV4, but it is on the pricey side these days.
It is.
It is. And, you know, especially given that, like, if you're going to get front-wheel drive, I just don't see a way around not getting the Taos.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's so much cheaper.
Right.
And if you're going to get a RAV4 or a CR-V, like, you're going to want all-wheel drive anyway. So you're going to end up paying that $1,500 extra. Because the RAV4 and the CR-V are both around $28,300 with all-wheel drive. The Taos is still down at $26,000. And the Escape, no cost option, so that's also $26,700. We'll have the numbers here for you to browse.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Taos is a clear winner there.
Yeah, and caveat, I don't know if all these include destination, but they don't. You know, add 700 to every single one, and it's still going to be the same order.
Yeah, because destination, 700 to, like, I think some are like 13 or 1400.
Yeah.
It can get kind of ridiculous. But
yeah, I don't think it's going to skew the order though.
No, and it's certainly not with the Taos having that $3,000 lead.
Yeah.
You know, that's big.
Base power-wise, and we're also going to be looking at performance here, which is 0 to 60 in our case. We're kind of looking at this objectively.
Yeah.
Where, you know, we don't have to drive the cars to kind of go through this and give you this information, which is why we're doing the 0 to 60.
Yeah, because typically we do a 20 to 60, but we can get the 0 to 60 times from Car and Driver or the manufacturer or whatever.
Right.
Because it's an objective metric that we can use. And at the end of the day, like, for a lot of these classes, like, especially with the crossovers, you're not probably going to care what we think as far as how it drives. You're going to want to know, like, what are you getting for your money? Because that's what people buy these cars for.
Right, especially these.
Yeah, and honestly, they're all about the same.
They really are.
And in the real world, they all play out about the same. Like,
right, because you're going to have some that are heavier, some are lighter, some,
Yeah.
you know, like they're all going to put the power down
Right, and
in a similar way.
And even though the RAV has the most horsepower at 203, it has a naturally aspirated motor, and it's just you're not going anywhere very quickly, you know. Like,
yeah.
The turbo motors in the CRV, the Taos, and the Escape they're gonna have more torque and get off the line a little quicker.
Right.
And are you really gonna be launching?
I don't think
RAV?
I launched the Taos once.
I don't know why you would. If you do want more power in your family crossover, then the Ford Escape and the Mazda CX-5 are the only two that offer upgraded 4-cylinder turbocharged motors with quite a bit of power. As far as fuel economy goes, they're all really in the same area. You know, like the CRV's 2834, the RAV's 2735. And like you get docked a mile per gallon or two if you opt for the all-wheel drive. The Taos is the best at 2836, and really I think with your Taos you got a little better than that even sometimes, like close to 40, right?
Not when I drove it, but I was driving to Boston. It was kind of.
But it does really well.
Yeah. Yeah. The outlier is definitely the CX-5. 30 miles per gallon highway. With the gas prices right now, that's kind of rough. I mean, to forego 4 miles a gallon.
Yeah.
And a lot of these, like, you know, if you're doing 72, 73 on the highway, I think you're going to exceed them. And I mean, it drops down to 24 in the city, which is another big dip compared to the others.
Yeah, because the others are all 27, 28 in the city. And if you opt for the turbo motor in the CX-5, you're even down to 22, 27. So
yeah, and I mean, that's like obviously different category, but that's like SQ5.
Yeah.
Like, it's barely better than an SQ5.
Yeah. And at that point, it's like,
I don't think you're buying I just don't see people buying these cars for the speed.
yeah.
And I just don't, like, that's rough.
You're really buying it for the economical side of it, the space and the safety and how cheap it is.
Exactly. But are you forced to get the turbo motor in the CX-5 at a certain trim level?
You can get so you can go all the way up to whatever it is, premium with the base motor. And then you have two options with the turbo. You have like the base turbo, which is like the equivalent of like a couple steps up for 33,000, and then the like premium plus or whatever the highest trim level, you can also get the turbo. So you only have two turbo options, but you can get all the niceties with the base motor. So
all right.
Yeah, it doesn't lock you in. The Escape locks you into the better motor, quote unquote better motor, which it gets you like 23, 31. So it's a huge dip in the city, but you're still getting pretty decent on the highway compared to the base 3-cylinder, which is only 34.
Yeah.
So
Okay. That's not bad.
No,
but...
it could be worse.
So why don't we wrap up this segment with maintenance? We'll kind of complete the mechanicals, and then we can move on to, I think, really
subjective.
Exactly.
Yeah. Our opinions.
Exactly. 100% opinion based.
So if you don't want our opinions, this is the last category you want to watch. Basically.
Right, and then skip to the end. I'm sure Teddy will timestamp it.
Yeah.
And then you'll get the final score, which is surprising.
So maintenance, we're not looking at reliability here. I mean, you can kind of assume, and if you want to ask us in the comments, feel free. I can give you our semi-educated opinion on this. But we're looking at like how easy is it to maintain, and
and really the cost associated with that.
Yeah, parts.
Because all of these cars are going to have a 60,000 powertrain warranty. I don't know any of these have 100,000 mile.
Yeah, no, because we don't have the Kia Sportage or the Tucson on this list.
Yeah, so they're all going to have good enough warranties to where I think anything critical is going to happen outside of warranty, and we're really looking at these as in you're going out to buy a new car.
Yeah.
The outlier is definitely going to be the Taos if you buy the all-wheel drive version.
Yeah.
To get the DSG service and the Haldex service, you're probably looking like $1,500 to $2,000, and that's going to be every 35,000 miles, give or take. Yeah. Definitely don't recommend avoiding that because they're legit services, and I forget Volkswagen's recommended intervals, but it is between 35 and 40 for each of the two systems. Just get them both done at once. You can DIY them, but I think, again, the average person, you're going to bring it to the dealership, and I would expect $1,200 minimum. I think the norm is going to be like $1,500.
Yeah, but it would only be what, $500 DIY?
About. The first time might be a little more if you bought
you gotta buy the tool.
Exactly.
Yeah. So the Escape's the only 3-cylinder motor.
Ooh, yep.
So just know that, yeah, it's sort of an unproven powertrain, and just, you're gonna have a warranty when you buy the car new, or CPO.
Yeah.
So just.
But in terms of service intervals, the other 4 are going to be similar, just oil changes and tire rotations, etc.
The CX-5 and the RAV are probably going to be your easiest. The Honda, you have to be kind of similar to the Taos, although you don't have any sort of other services aside from like the diff and stuff, because you probably have a service too. It's probably not as essential as the Haldex fluid change, but the Honda's motor is a little sensitive to oil changes because of the direct injection. Honda's just not as good as as Volkswagen is, because they've been doing it for longer. So there was oil dilution in the beginning, but so just make sure that they're all about the same. Just, there's a lot of working room. Parts are really easy to get for the RAV and the Honda.
CX-5.
I assume the CX-5 also, because all these motors have been around now for at least 7 years, but the RAV's motor's been around since like late 2000s.
Yeah.
It's old.
Yeah, the Taos, I will say, I don't think parts are going to be hard to find, but because 22 is the first model year, like FCP and ECS, your normal companies that you're going to go to purchase things, it's not as full of a catalog as, say, like a Tiguan, where that engine has been around for, it's more like a facelift at this point.
Yeah.
Probably same with the other 4.
So moving on to the subjective categories, like these are our opinions. You can take them, or you could leave a mean comment. It's up to you. But we're ranking as far as design, so exterior design, what we think is the best looking. This is obviously going to be, you might have a different opinion.
Yeah,
but,
and we actually agree on all these.
Yeah, which is fairly rare, I think, for us to,
it is
to
definitely
have a complete agreement.
Yeah.
But when we did the list, we were like, we were doing it, and we were like, oh yeah, no, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Just watching that spider.
I am too.
There's a spider on you guys right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so the least attractive, we both think, is the Escape.
Yes.
It's not an ugly car, but we just kind of think when they threw the Focus face on it, we were like...
I think it's also hit or miss.
Yeah.
Like, I think the other cars in this category, they look really good, or they're like design neutral.
Yeah. Yeah. And the Escape, some angles looks good. And honestly, it's not a bad looking car. It's just compared to the other 4 here, we think
especially in person. It's not bad.
No, it's not.
But not bad isn't going to get you anything over last place.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's going to be followed up by the CRV.
Yeah.
Again, it's not bad, but I think it is going to be hit or miss. It's kind of like just your typical. I will say, totally related but unrelated, the 23 CRV has leaked, and it's bad.
Oh, not attractive?
No, so they literally put a Civic front end on it, and it's not good looking. So this, if you want a CRV that still looks good, now is your chance.
Get it now. Get it while it's hot.
It's like really bad.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk about that when it comes out.
Yes.
Yikes. After the CRV, we've got the Taos, which amongst these 5, we just kind of thought the Taos is like kind of the neutral one. It's
it's average.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It looks completely unoffensive from every angle, and I really don't think you could walk up to the Taos and be like, that's beautiful, or that's really ugly. I just don't.
Yeah, I didn't have any of those opinions when we
had
it. Yeah.
The Taos, and for what it's worth, it's actually the most wagony looking. So if that appeals to you.
It is. It definitely is.
Yeah, like it looks the most. It's actually, in that way, it's kind of similar to the Forester, because the Forester still has like a little wagon.
Hatchbacky / yeah. RAV4, we kind of said it's number 2. Again, in our opinion, I think it's kind of like the most rugged looking. And
personality.
And with the right options, it can actually look pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like the XSE package, I think.
Yeah, the XSE looks really nice.
There's definitely, I think the others, they actually stay very consistent in their looks. But with the right options, the RAV4 is going to change the most drastic, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, and also it's just like the RAV has this kind of, like if you're looking for something in this segment that's got like off-roady looking credentials.
Yeah, or slightly like attention seeking.
Yeah. It's like it's got a personality and we just happen to like the way that it presents itself.
Right. But
stylistically.
We don't like it as much as the CX-5.
Yeah, the CX-5 is just like, obviously that's number one. You probably assume that just from the beginning because it's beautiful.
Yeah. It's very
nice looking car.
Yeah.
Especially with the right options too. I mean, because the base looks nice, but you go up a couple levels and it's just it's very nice.
But I mean, it even won our interior section overall.
Yeah. Good segue.
I'm not, I think ahead sometimes.
Yeah. So the interior of the CX-5 is just for a car that starts as our second cheapest to the Taos, as with the base model, the interior is leagues ahead of the others.
Yeah.
It's really nice. And you go up to, I think the third trim level up, you get leather and like whatever wood and all that stuff. And it's only 29 grand for all that. You get a beautiful interior. Like the interior it's encroaching on German territory, I think.
Yeah.
It's getting in the ballpark.
Yeah.
Not there yet, but it's getting there.
Yeah. And then I think, so our number 2, we'll kind of go backwards this time, is going to be the Taos. We'll explain that more on the standard options piece, but a lot of that is kind of related to what you get from the factory, even with the base model.
Yeah. And it's just like, it's simple, it's laid out well, it makes sense. When we did the review, if you haven't checked out the review, check it out. It's a very relaxing place to be. And the touch screen's great.
And I feel like it is what it is. It's not like the plastic is plastic. It's not like plastic that's molded to look like an open grained leather, and it's
it's not trying to be something it's not.
Exactly.
It's a cheap car, and they do a good job of making it really functional.
Yeah.
With that cheapness.
Yep.
Yeah. And then the next on the list is the CR-V, and a lot of that is just.
I think it's really opinion. I think the CR-V and RAV4 were kind of like in the middle. We're leaning more towards, I believe, the CR-V just because of standard features.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
And it's like it has comfortable seats. I think more comfortable than the RAV. I've
the original seats were great.
Yeah, and they're similar.
Yeah. I think it's just they're both kind of meh, but they're just not as egregious as the Escape.
Yeah, and the Escape coming in last is.
It's obvious. I don't even think it's up for discussion.
Yeah.
Like even, I don't know. I don't know who could buy a base Escape and be like,
this is it.
Like, hey, come check out my new car. I'd be like, why don't we take your car to lunch?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Like it's bad. So a base Escape is a rental car.
Yep.
And a company, I had something. We're outside. We're trying something new.
There's bugs.
Yeah.
There's bugs.
Yeah, it's kind of spring, summer in New England and Mexico and No, and I just think it's base rental car. It's
that leads perfectly
like a
into
company
the
car
features, which is like, because the biggest problem with the Escape is that in the base Escape, no Apple CarPlay, no Android Auto, and you get a 4.2-inch LCD screen, like straight out of a Ford Transit van.
It's terrible.
How is that still a thing?
I don't know.
And it's not even like the Taos. You get Apple CarPlay on a nice screen in the base.
Yeah, and I honestly
less.
think what makes it worse is the fact that it's not even like a single DIN.
Yeah.
And it's like recessed into the dash, and it's not like you can just swap it out.
No.
It's terrible. It's so bad that in 2022, that's what they give you. And then it comes with all the extra buttons in the middle, and it's really just bad.
It's just a surprise, and it was something we really like when we reviewed the 17 Escape.
Yeah, sure.
The 17 Escape, we basically said like the Escape's a fine car, but the fact that you have to, and it was like sort of excusable in 17, but in 2022.
No, the fact that it's a new model year.
Yeah, and you have to jump up to the second trim level to get the most basic of modern amenities. It just doesn't do it for us.
Right.
So, and for that reason, it ranks last in our standard features. After that,
that's going to be the CR-V and the RAV4. But the RAV4 is it's going to be 3.
The CR-V is 4th, and it's above the Escape because the standard screen is fine-ish, it's modern, it's whatever. It's not that kind of nonsense in the Escape. The touchscreen's pretty good. You have knobs for, volume, tune, all that stuff. But you don't get Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. You have to jump up to the Special Edition or the SE, which is $28,000. So it's like a full $1,500 jump.
Just for CarPlay, that's kind of rough.
Yeah, and that's the same for the Escape, too. You have to jump up to $28,000 to the SE also.
But that you get Sync 3. And Sync 3 is probably worth the $1,500.
So the Escape actually ranks lowest because of the abysmal base, but if we were to rank the next model up, the Escape would be up there because Sync 3 is much better than what Honda and Toyota have to offer for MMI.
Yeah, I'd put it on the same level as Volkswagen's kind of upper level, because above the S, the SE gets a slightly revised, and I think that those two are even at that point.
Yeah, and then our top two, or I guess our second from the top is CX-5.
Yeah, CX-5. I don't necessarily know that it's going to get. I think that's really why it's ranked 2. Is aside from CarPlay, it really is the nicest interior.
Yeah.
Even at a base, I think it's nicer than the Taos, but the Taos you get standard digital dash.
Yeah.
You get standard CarPlay with a touchscreen. Not necessarily. Well, yeah, standard tech. I mean.
Yeah.
I think. So the LED headlights and taillights would count. So
if you wanted to skip over the other part of the section or the whole video, here you are with our ranking.
Yep, we're not going to give you a why because you can literally watch the entire video.
Yeah. So number 5 on the list is the Ford Escape.
Yep, 15.
15
out
points
of, I believe it's out of 35.
15 out of 35. Pretty poor. Basically, the ranking is 5, and the worst gets a 1, and the best gets a 5 in the segment.
Yep.
The second worst is the CR-V.
Yeah.
16.
With a 16, which is a little surprising.
Yeah.
I was actually. I think what's even more surprising is the spread.
Yeah.
Because from 5 and 4, they're close, and then 3 actually jumps up to the RAV4 with 22.
Yeah.
A little surprising.
Yeah. And like some of that has to do with the fact that, you get a 5 or 1 in a segment, it can really change the numbers, but.
Right, and of course this does factor in like miles per gallon, things like that, which may be a little irrelevant, but I think, we're gonna include it because I think as an overall experience, it kind of is relevant.
And you can look at all the different, you can look at all the segments and decide for yourself, what's more important to you.
We're gonna somewhere, whether it's over here, not that you can see my hand, if it's over here, if it's wherever.
Right here.
Like, you can pause the video, strike through, and add it up however you want.
Yeah. Yeah, use our scoring system. It's easy. Decide what car is best for you. We're just giving you the information and some opinions. And because you know what? There's not a lot out there about the segments as a whole. So,
there's not. And if you want, go drive them all. Go sit in them all. Just touch them all.
Touch them all.
Touch everything.
Collect them.
Right.
Pokemon.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you might want to bleep that out for copyrights.
Yeah.
But the CX-5, if you've been watching the video, I don't think it's a surprise that it came up with 25.
Yeah. Pretty good.
It is. It's very good. I think really the only reason the Taos won is it did take away a couple categories like
tech.
Yeah, tech. Surprisingly, the performance.
Yeah.
And I'm just surprised that it came up with 28 compared to a 15 at the lowest.
Yeah.
That's surprising.
Big spread.
Yeah. If you've liked this video, it really would be helpful to like it, subscribe, and also leave a comment that you like this.
And let us know what segments you'd like to see ranked.
Right, because we don't necessarily have a pony in the race.
Yeah.
So we'll do whatever you guys are looking for.
We're
you know,
basically just here to gather the information and give it to you, and hopefully a way that's not
right. We're like an
Northwest.
unbiased Wikipedia
Yeah. Sure.
that does our research.
Yeah. Because we get all the information from either the big magazines, Car and Driver, Road and Track, and from the manufacturers themselves.
And forums.
And
so,
forums.
you know, factor it in.
Yeah.
So, also listen to the podcast.
Yeah.
You'll get a little bit more information like this. And also, if you want to ask questions for the podcast, we do 2 Q&As now, monthly.
Yep. So, a podcast every week, 2 of them are viewer questions.
Yep.
Also, there's a spider building a web on the GoPro, so we should probably get that.
Yeah. All right, well, that's it.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, when the Saints
So when the Saints
go marching in.